Hi there. Tonight I thought I'd take a look at developing a strategy as suggested by one of the subscribers, Zoltan, who has kindly laid out a step-by-step guide as to what he's looking for. There's a couple of assumptions I'll need to make here. I presume in this section here it's actually backing 1.5 goals he wants rather than 2.5. But we'll just start where we should start at the beginning with step one. Back under 0.5 goals 1 minute before kickoff, best back odds. Okay, so just add in the rule. We want to back 0.5 goals pre-kickoff. That's going to be relative to start time, 1 minute before, for a stake of £5. So we click on action, place a bet. We are going to choose the over 0.5 goals, choose that by name, over 0.5, and that's going to be for a back bet for £5 at best odds, best back odds, and the stake's going to be £5. There's no conditions, so we can just click on OK to create that initial rule. Step two, very similar, except is going to be on the 2.5 goals. Now I'm taking this as 0.5. I suspect what he actually means is 1.5. But I'll leave it set to the over 0.5 goals. You can change it if you wish. So it's back the step two is back the over 2.5 goals 1 minute before kickoff. Essentially the same thing. So we can simply copy that one, paste it in, go in and rename it. So it's 2.5 pre-kickoff, 1 minute before the off. The action's a bet. It's going to be in the over and under 2.5 goal market by name, which is going to be the over 2.5 goals, and it's for £10. Again, there's no conditions specified, so we can just click on OK. Next one, step three, I want to back Fairbot for over 2.5 goals with £2.50 in every 5 minutes after 10 minutes until half time. Okay, so there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps. So what we can do is simply copy this one, edit the rule, and that'll be back 2.5 goals during the first half. So that's going to be relative to in-play time. It's going to be 10 minutes into the game. We're going to execute it 8 times. And it's going to be every 5 minutes. So that's going to be 300 seconds. The action is going to be placing a bet, and the bet is for £2.5. So we can change that to 2.5. Those things should be the same. That's going to be the same. Now you might want some conditions. Doesn't really matter. He hasn't specified any conditions. Let me see. Okay, if a goal comes in the first half, then green up the over 2.5 goals. Right. So we only want this bet to go in as long as there's no goals. So in this case, we need to add the condition and market football a number of goals, and that should be equal to nil. So as long as this is equal to nil, this will carry on putting in the bets, and as soon as a goal is scored, it will stop. However, you might also want to add in a condition that checks that the market is actually active. In other words, it's not suspended. Okay, so you just make sure that that is active. You might also want to add in a market unsuspend time option, which will make sure that it doesn't put anything in if the market has been suspended and you haven't given it enough time after the suspension has been removed for the market to settle down. So you might want to put in that into 1 or 2 minutes. I'll just stick in a minute. Okay, so this will look through 8 times, sticking in bets of £2.50 once every 5 minutes until such times as a goal is scored. If a goal comes in the first half, then green up the over 2.5 goals market. Okay, we'll look at that in a minute. And then I want the Fairbox to back 1.5 goals with £5 in every 5 minutes. Okay, as I say, yeah, I think that is meant to be 1.5 goals. So what we'll do is just copy that, paste it in, edit the rules so that it says what we want it to do, back 1.5 goals, and that's going to be in the second half. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that to 60 minutes. That's only the initial control. What's actually going to happen is we are going to set up, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's only going to be 5 times, and that's going to be £5 stake. So action, this is going to be the over 1.5, by name over 1.5 goals, a back bet, and it's going to be £5 stakes. Okay, now we need conditions in here. Excuse me. Now it doesn't say in step 5 of whether these bets are to go in if it's still 0-0, or in the condition 4 if there has been a goal to carry on putting these in. I'm presuming he's going to want just no goals. Again, you can change this if that's not correct. The market state, we want that to be active. Unsuspend time, that's fine, but we also want it to check the second half time. Time since the start of the second half, and that is going to be the 50th minute, so that's 5 minutes after, sorry, beg your pardon, 10 minutes. Shut up, Alistair. God, I'm getting senile in my old age. 5 minutes, I should say. So that's going to be greater than or equal to 5 minutes. In other words, the 50th minute, that's going to kick in. So because that restriction there says you've got to wait 5 minutes into the second half, the first of these execution counts won't start until that point. and then it will start to add in the bets. Now, I'm going to assume that it has to do this if there's no goals. So if there's a goal being in the first half, these bets won't kick in. Okay, let's have a look at the green ups. Step 4, if a goal comes in the first half, then green up the over 2.5 goals. Okay, so that's a straightforward green up. Green up if goal in first half. So we need to set that relative to the start time. Sorry, relative to in play time, I beg your pardon. The action is going to be green up all. And we also have to have conditions. Now the first condition we need, we're looking for a goal in the first half. Now there isn't a condition that says, is it half time yet? So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can either check one of the first half markets to see if it's half time, or alternatively you can use the football second half time market and set that to 0. So it needs to be less than or equal to 0 minutes. Therefore, by definition, it must have happened in the first half. Now, obviously, that measurement also includes the half-time period, but again, it's impossible to get a goal during the half-time period. So you can use that. We also need to, if a goal comes in the first half, and green up the over 2.5 goals. Right, we need to check, let's specify over 2.5 goals in here. The first half. Right, that's good. And then we also need to make sure that the market isn't suspended, and it has been unsuspended for a period of time. In other words, the market is settled down again. Again, you might want to set this to longer than a minute, but that'll do for me. And as an additional check, you can also put in the market state in there if you so wish to make sure it's active. But those two are effectively doing the same thing. So that will green up the over 2.5 market if there's a goal. So we need to add in the number of goals, and it needs to be greater than 0. Now, the reason for putting greater than 0 rather than equal to 1 is that if a goal has been scored and then a quick goal comes immediately after it, the market might not have time to unsuspend and then suspend again. So you need to make it as bigger than or greater than 0 rather than equal to 1. So it's only going to kick in if there has been a goal before the start of the second half, the market is active and the market isn't suspended. Okay, so that's going to, I should really rename that green up over 2.5. It's always worthwhile making your rule names descriptive so that when you go back to your strategy, you know exactly what they're all doing. So that's step 4 done. Step 5's up there with what we can do. Let me see, if a goal comes in the second half, then green up both over 1.5 and 2.5 goals. Okay, you're only going to green up, well, it doesn't actually matter in actual fact. You can just do a straightforward green up if the goal comes in the second half. Because if this rule has already fired, it doesn't matter if you green up the over 2.5s again. That will make no difference. So let's first of all do that one. We'll just copy that again. Change it to green up over 2.5 if goal in second half. Now again, it's unclear from the steps here whether that if that means that's the first goal or if that's the second goal. I'm going to assume that's the first goal. So it's going to be green up all selections over 2.5. If a goal comes in the second half. Right, so that there needs to be greater than 0 minutes. That'll tell you the second half. Unsuspend time's fine, active is fine, market number of goals. Yeah, I'm going to assume that this is for the first goal. In which case, I'm just going to leave that as it is. If that's not the case, you need to adjust that accordingly. So that's going to green up the 2.5 goals in the second half. And then also green up the 1.5 goals as well. So much the same thing. We can just copy and paste that. Again, change the rule description to something meaningful. Action will be the same, except we need to change this to the over 1.5. And everything else will be the same. Again, I'm going to assume that this is for the first goal coming in. And that is effectively it. So essentially all the rules are much the same, as you can see. So let's just quickly run through them again. So you've got your two initial ones. As I say, I think that should be 1.5 based on the rest of it, but I'll leave it as 0.5 as he's got there. It doesn't make sense. In fact, yeah, let's just change it. I'm going to make that assumption, Zoltan. If that's wrong, you can change it back. Let's put that to 1.5. That makes more sense based on the description he's already got there. Right, let's do it that way. That makes more sense. Okay, so this is going to back 1.5 goals pre-off, and for £5, whatever the best odds are at 1 minute before kickoff. Similarly, this one is going to back 2.5 goals for a tenner at the best back odds, again 1 minute before the off. And then during the first half, we're going to get some bets drip fed into the market. There's going to be eight of them, as indicated here. So we've got 8 bets of £2.50 each going into the market, starting 5 minutes. So I beg your pardon, starting, that should be 10 minutes, shouldn't it? Yeah. That should be 10 minutes start. Execute 8 times, separated by 5-minute intervals. And it'll only do that if there's no goals, if the market's active and it's not suspended, or the suspension has been switched off for at least a minute. Similarly, the back 1.5 goals does much the same thing, except it's going to be in the second half. So that's going to be from 60 minutes. This is when the rule starts to become active, but the bets actually won't go in unless the time of the start of the second half is greater than or equal to 5 minutes after the start of the second half, and there's been no goals. But again, it's going to be 5 bets going in, spaced 5 minutes apart for a value of £5 each. And then we have the 3 green up processes where if there's a goal in the first half, the over 2.5 will green up. If there's no goal until the second half, both the over 2.5 and the 1.5 will green up as well. And that, as far as I can see, is it. So this video is 20 minutes long already, so I'm going to leave it there and I'll do some testing on some matches later on in the week. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. And remember to subscribe and ring the notification bell and all that sort of stuff. Okay guys, thanks very much for watching. Cheers.